The Minnesota Vikings are bringing back running back and kick returner Ameer Abdullah for another season. This would be the third season in a row that the Vikings are giving him a one-year contract. And I believe his fourth season. Would it be the fourth season in the row that the Vikings are giving him a one-year contract? The reason why the Vikings are continually bringing him back is because he's been under this offense for a while now. Now, this would be his fourth season, but nobody's taken him in free agency. And the reason why nobody's taken him in free agency, he's an aging running back, and obviously running back's that position where you don't want to take an aging running back. Plus, he's not very good on special teams returner anyways. Meanwhile, he was our best special teams returner in the 2020 season. And this is why the Vikings are bringing him back. Now, him coming back, I think he will be utilized a lot more this upcoming season, simply because our offense has kind of taken a big hit this last this free agent market where we lost Kyle Rudolph. Obviously, the Vikings cut Kyle Rudolph because they had to. On top of that, we don't know how our wide receiver group is going to look. They have added nobody in the offensive line. They've added no players on the receiving core. Vikings have only focused on defense so far this free agent market. So bringing back Ameer Abdullah is actually a good thing for the Vikings. Now, before this free agent market, before free agency kicked off, I said that I did not want Ameer Abdullah to return with the Minnesota Vikings. The reason why I didn't want Ameer Abdullah to return with the Minnesota Vikings is simply because he doesn't add a whole lot of value as a running back. Yes, he was our best special teams returner last year, but we can do better on the special teams. Now, special teams held the Vikings back far too much last year and was kind of one of the biggest reasons why the Vikings did not make the playoffs last year was because special teams held the offense back a lot. And there was turnovers on special teams in the Panthers game and in there's a couple other games. The Panthers game comes to mind because that Chad Beebe almost lost us the game, but there was multiple turnovers on special teams that held the Vikings back last year. Ameer Abdullah, while he was our best special team returner, I know the Vikings can do better. You look at the free agent market right now, Vikings could have got Keelan Cole, maybe Cordero Patterson, added one of these players who can come in, add depth to our wide receiver group, and also be a starting special team returner. The reason why the Vikings are bringing back Ameer Abdullah and why I'm okay with it is just because with the cap space the Vikings have right now, it is not worth signing a new returner other than Ameer Abdullah. You have to settle with Ameer Abdullah for right now. And that's because the last bit of the Vikings money that we actually have needs to go to paying Danielle Hunter and getting an offensive lineman. At this point, I'm fine with the Vikings signing any offensive lineman. I know I was not a fan of the Vikings looking for Forrest Lamp or somebody. As long as it's not Dakota Dozier, I will settle with it for right now. Because with the last bit of the Vikings money that you have, just get those offensive guards. That's all you need to focus on. You don't even need Eric Wilson to come back. Yeah, now, yes, I do want Eric Wilson to come back, but it's not worth the money at this point in time. So if you take a look at Ameer Abdullah, he will be a running back 3 on our depth chart. Now, the reason why he's our running back 3 instead of running back 4 is because Mike Boone is now with the Denver Broncos. We lost him due to free agency, and I was a huge Mike Boone fan. I did not want to see that happen. Now, I would rather have seen Mike Boone actually be our kick returner than Ameer Abdullah because we saw Mike Boone actually be a kick returner in the 2019 preseason where he looked pretty good as a kick returner. And I've argued on this podcast before that Mike Boone is actually, or was actually, our second best running back on our depth chart, obviously behind Dalvin Cook, but I believed Mike Boone was actually a better running back than Alexander Mattison. Now, Alexander Mattison is proved to be a running back 2 because he can rotate in, bring that 1-2 punch in the backfield with Dalvin Cook. But when it all comes down to it, when Cook is injured and Mattison is given the starting role, he doesn't look as good as when Mike Boone is given the starting role. So for that reason, I was a huge fan of Mike Boone, and Mike Boone is Is he a better running back than Alexander Mattison? I don't know, but I believed him to be more of a all-around back than Alexander Mattison, where you can use him a lot more on offense. But obviously, Ameer Abdullah will be our running back 3 after the Vikings lost Mike Boone, who will now play with the Denver Broncos, and he's a running back 2 with the Denver Broncos, second on the depth chart behind Melvin Gordon. Yes, because the Broncos did lose Philip Lindsay in free agency. So if we take a look at Ameer Abdullah right now, this last season, Ameer Abdullah is now 28 years old. Like I said, he is an aging running back, so that's the reason why nobody's taking him in free agency, because running back is that position where age is the most important position, where age is a big value on really where their career ends up. It's both age and their ability to stay healthy. And Mike Boone's been pretty healthy. I mean, he's been healthy these last 2 seasons. He's played all 16 games. This last season, he had 16 touches for exactly 100 scrimmage yards, 5.3 yards per carry. Very good for a running back. 7.3 yards per return, and 2 actually receiving touchdowns, both against his former team, the Detroit Lions. So this was a pretty good season for Ameer Abdullah, I'd say. This was a very good season for Ameer Abdullah. And also in the kick return game, he had 15 kick returns, 352 yards, 23.5 yards per return, and a 33-yard long. So those stats on the kick return, you know you can do better. Thing is, the Vikings were not able to do better because we saw KJ Osborne and Chad Beebe as our other returners last year. Both did not go well at all. I mean, Chad Beebe played okay. KJ Osborne was awful in the return game, especially the punt return game, but on the kick return game as well. KJ Osborne's looking like that bust that the Vikings had just, it was a needed draft pick that the Vikings, I thought it was worth taking a shot on, but now KJ Osborne, I don't even know if he's going to make the team this next season. That's how bad of a rookie season that KJ Osborne actually had. Now he's very young, so I'd say that he might make the team. He will probably be on the practice squad. But anyways, Ameer Abdullah coming back with the Vikings, I think he's going to see a lot more targets, a lot more carries this next upcoming season because Alexander Mattison underperformed this last season. Alexander Mattison did underperform. Now, yes, he looked great as a running back too, but when Dalvin Cook got injured, Alexander Mattison also went out there and did not look good when Cook was injured. On top of that, both Dalvin Cook, this is why that running back 3 position for Ameer Abdullah is very important on the Minnesota Vikings, because both Dalvin Cook and Alexander Mattison have been injured at the same time these last 2 seasons. We might see Ameer Abdullah as our starting running back. Now, that's not a good thing, but I'm saying that's why it's very important to have a running back 3 that you can at least put some reliance on, that you can believe that Ameer Abdullah will do something at least. Now, Ameer Abdullah hasn't done a whole lot, but when it comes down to it, he's a lot safer than having some nobody on our running back 3 spot. And then obviously you have CJ Ham as well, who CJ Ham looks very bad as a running back, but as a blocker, as a receiver, CJ Ham has done pretty well on top of that. So they would probably be our 1-2 backfield. I guess if Dalvin Cook and Alexander Mattison get injured, I would not be happy to see that happen. But that's why Ameer Abdullah will probably get more targets this upcoming season and more carries this upcoming season as Mike Boone is no longer with the team, which I hate to say because I loved Mike Boone. Mike Boone was the most underrated Viking on our team. I want to say CJ Ham was the most underrated Viking, but I feel like since CJ Ham was given a lot of snaps, I don't want to say he was, but Mike Boone was the most underrated Viking on the team, and I wish him the best of luck wherever he goes, Denver Broncos or after that. So if we take a look at how this Vikings cap space is going to look now Ameer Abdullah, they haven't announced how much money he's going to make, but I'd say he's worth approximately $1.3 million one-year deal. The Vikings adjusted cap space, if he was $1.3 million, would be $8.78 million and still at $7.1 million in dead cap, which is a lot of dead cap money. So right now the Vikings cap space having 8.78 over the cap is actually pretty good, because if you look at the needs the Vikings have right now, we have safety, offensive line. I don't know why I said safety before offensive line. It's like offensive line is such a big need for the Vikings right now. And then safety is way down here. Kicker is way down here. Wide receiver is way down here. We need offensive line. It is such a big need for the Vikings right now, especially offensive guard. Now, if you can get Eric Fisher, which you look at the Vikings dead cap right now, Vikings can actually get Eric Fisher because, yes, it would do a lot for our team right now, but it would also hold the Vikings back if you give them on more than a one-year deal. So if you put Eric Fisher on a one-year deal, it would make sense. But at the same time, another big need for the Vikings right now, just paying Danielle Hunter. You need to pay Danielle Hunter. He's demanding a pay raise, and right now we have no pass rushers other than Danielle Hunter. You need to give him money. Yes, we have Anthony Barr, but we're not going to put Anthony Barr in that because the last season we saw from Anthony Barr was not that great. So all in all, Dalvin Cook, obviously, elite running back, top 3 in the NFL. But he has not played an entire season yet. He has yet to play a full 16 games in the NFL. Alexander Mattison, amazing backup running back. I love Alexander Mattison, but he's also injury prone. And when Dalvin Cook was injured this last season, didn't look great, except for the second half of the Seattle game, where we're not going to count that because that was not playing a full game. But when Dalvin Cook was injured, Mattison didn't look good. Mattison was also injured multiple games this last season and year before that. Ameer Abdullah has played 2 full 16 games straight. So that would be 32. Yeah, 32 straight games played with the Minnesota Vikings, and then 7 the season before that. So he's been very healthy, and that's why this role is very important, and he is our best special teams returner. Now, it's not saying that he's a great special teams returner, but he is the best special teams returner we got, which is why this move was a necessary move for the Minnesota Vikings, because that running back 3 role is very important. And right now, just keep the special teams guy that you have, and that is Ameer Abdullah. And then we're going to have KJ Osborne and Chad Beebe play for that punt return role, which that's going to be ugly. That is going to be very ugly. I hope the Vikings can draft someone who might maybe try Chris Boyd or Harrison Hand. Chris Boyd and Harrison Hand are two corners on our depth chart that I think could actually be very good punt returners. Try them. See what they can do, because if they can be our starting punt returners, and yes, Ameer Abdullah will be our starting kick returner, this could help out the Vikings offense a lot. It would lay a lot of pressure off of Kirk Cousins' back if that special teams can give him that next step. So yes, I am happy that the Vikings are bringing back Ameer Abdullah. What I'm not happy with is that the Vikings still have not brought back Brett Jones, which makes no sense, because Brett Jones and Ameer Abdullah, one thing they both have in common, they were the best at something last year, and they didn't do a whole lot. They didn't do that great at that one thing. Brett Jones was our best offensive guard last year, and he wasn't even a great offensive guard. Ameer Abdullah was our best kick returner last year, and he wasn't even a good kick returner. Well, I guess you can say he was an average kick returner and Brett Jones was an average guard. I'm just saying we can do better than what we have. So that's why the Vikings, I don't know why you would have not brought back Brett Jones yet, especially with how much lack of talent you actually have at the guard position currently, where Drew Samia is actually your best guard on your depth chart right now. Drew Samia. Well, I guess you can throw Rashad Hill as a guard, but once again, this is what the Vikings should do with their money, is focus on that guard position right now. It is the biggest need, and with this leftover money is exactly what they need to do.